Despite how popular and amazing manga are, there's just something about anime that always captivates us. Whether it's waiting for the new episode to drop or dropping everything to binge the entire series. There's nothing like waiting months for a series you love to finally get animated. But the issue comes into play when the anime adaptation you love so desperately turns out to be trash. With such an easy blueprint to follow, why do anime adaptations always fail? Now I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I did not even think this was a thing. When I was a youngin', like a young kid, watching older anime, I didn't feel like this was a problem. You'd get a manga, you'd read that joint, it'd be decent, then you'd watch the anime, and that's it. You might have the occasional terrible filler, and there would be dips in animation, but like, it is what it is, nigga. It's 2006, right? But especially with the classics, when you got a series, it was basically from the manga to the anime straight up. That's what it was. The only exceptions I can think of, honestly, are like Full Metal and Berserk. Essentially what I'm saying is if the manga's fire, the anime is going to be Zuko to match. And even with Full Metal Alchemist, a huge reason Full Metal Alchemist did so bad was the fact that the manga wasn't even finished. So with the ending, they just had to wing it. The writers did not have a guideline, and even with all that being said, Full Metal Alchemist is still pretty loved by fans. But with new anime, it feels like it's a coin flip on if the anime itself will be good. You can literally scour the internet and find thousands of people complaining about how an anime adaptation's filled the manga. But let's be honest, bro. Let's be very honest. You never care about a problem till it affects you. The first time I got hit with a bad anime adaptation, I was sick, and it was Hell's Paradise. If you gotta follow the channel, I actually talked about Hell's Paradise's manga, and I was like, yo, this shit's gonna be OC when it hits the anime sphere. And then it hit the anime sphere, and it was tough until it wasn't. The anime was so bad that after the first 2 episodes, I damn near forgot it existed. I distinctly remember thinking, how do you even sell a premise like this? All you gotta do is color the lines. Almost as easy as clicking a button. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way, if you haven't already. Let's break this down, because the reason that anime fail is a lot more nuanced than you think. It's kind of funny because when people compare series, artwork doesn't usually hold a lot of weight as a category. People enjoy good artwork, you know, here and there and whatnot, but you're never gonna hear someone be like, oh, this series is way better than the other one because of art. Like, niggas don't really do that. We're not Vincent Van Gogh, we don't care. But most people are gonna look at the story or the characters, the world building, other things that are way above animation and artwork. When you're looking at a media, especially anime, animation and artwork is very, very underrated. Look at some of the best manga ever. People always rave about the artwork, but it's not just because it's amazing. A lot of times with artwork, it conveys many things from like the tone to the theme and even like a message. I'm gonna use 2 manga that a lot of people actually think are really hard. On one side, we got One Piece, and then we got Berserk. While One Piece is a lot more serious than people give it credit for, it always is gonna make sure to be goofy and fun nature. That's visible in the animation. Flip that on its head and you look at Berserk, the art itself tells you right there, like, there's no jokes, nigga. There's no Dave Chappelle, it's no Cat Williams, no jokes around. It tells you straight up, this is gonna be one of the most fierce and dark manga you've ever read. But if you don't believe me, you can read the first arc of Berserk yourself and come back to this video. So naturally with manga, art has a lot of importance, and obviously we can see now why the transition from manga to anime is super important. But unfortunately, sometimes when you make this translation, there's some lost emotion during it. It's something you won't even notice unless you go back and read the manga. I know for Death Note and My Hero specifically, I've gone and seen panels and I'm like, oh shit, the anime is nowhere near as good as this. And again, don't get me wrong, a lot of anime look great, but there is always a small natural deviation. Obviously, it's going to happen this way because the manga not gonna sit and draw the damn anime himself. It is what it is. Like a natural 5% is always expected. But I'm gonna be honest, bro, with these new recent anime adaptations, that percentage is like 40. These series aren't capturing the visual spectacle of the anime at all. You're basically just giving us whatever you can scrap up from the studio's budget. And that's one of the first slaps in the face when watching an adaptation. Imagine watching a series that's unrecognizable from the manga. If you're watching a series that's unrecognizable, that shit's not hitting anymore. Then you throw in artwork's fraternal twin brother animation and it gets very nasty. So not only is the anime ugly looking, but the moment any nigga moves, you're in for a shit show. One thing that doesn't get enough credit for the anime and manga discrepancies is the budget difference. I don't really know exactly how much it would cost to write a manga chapter, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say your favorite anime episode costs a lot more. There's only so much money these niggas have.
Cap.
if Netflix only has $1 million to make an amazing anime and the animation alone takes 400,000, then them last 3 episodes are gonna be like stick figures. So your favorite anime episode will probably take a big chunk out of the budget. But it's honestly funny because you might be surprised. Sometimes the budget's not misused, the budget's just overall shitty. I'm sure if you're watching this video, there's a good chance you know about the glorified PowerPoint that is Tower of God Season 2. It's pretty widely believed that the reason Season 2 was a hot pile of garbage was because their budget wasn't as high as it was in Season 1. The budget essentially tanked the show and it never got a chance to go anywhere. You can deadass go on Reddit right now and hear fans of the series talk about how unrecognizable Season 2 was. It's crazy and sad to see because you're like, damn, these are people that feel like they know what makes Tower of God good, and yet it just falls through. But that's just the start, because these are just like, obviously these are important, but these are still just surface visual issues. Something that gets a lot less spotlight than even the visuals is censorship. I'm not some preteen kid who needs gore just because I want gore, but sometimes the mangaka adds gore in mature scenes to convey an emotion, and it's for a reason. If in One Piece they dropped the entire slavery plotline, it would tank a lot of arcs. Sabaody doesn't hit anymore. Fishman Island doesn't hit anymore. It kind of ruins those arcs to a degree. People still meme about the 4 Kids One Piece, and even though that theme song's a banger, don't give it up so low, people don't view that series in a great light. People look at it and they're like, okay, this shit is not hard. You have scenes like Sanji having a lollipop. It's unserious. My immersion is cooked. It is what it is. I don't care anymore. To me, if you're adapting a series, it just makes sense to adapt it in their vision. Otherwise, you're basically disrespecting their work. Another reason these adaptations fail is because the director has a different vision, which honestly explains why sometimes the anime just skips whole parts of the manga. The director is not fucking with those pieces of the series. He's like, yo, that shit is not hard. It's not gonna be in my product, because let's be honest, the directors view the anime as their product, and that plays into the pace of the anime. Sometimes the pacing feels like a Sonic Unleashed stage, and then other times it's like an old school Mario stage. It's kind of tricky too, because a lot of some of these older series, for instance, they had an issue of how slow it took to get to the meat and potatoes of the series. But the pacing being at breakneck speeds doesn't help either. The pacing can ruin the emotional moments in the scenes and make them less impactful, which obviously we know will give you a horrible experience. Imagine if niggas watch Naruto and they skip all of the background parts. We didn't see that swing, that damn swing, we didn't see it. We didn't see Naruto get hated, we didn't see any of those scenes, and he just beats Pain. All the villagers cheering him and stuff, and we're like, why does that matter? We are basically skipping 8 arcs of background, and we don't even know why this is a big deal. We're not as emotionally invested. I'm not even completely opposed to anime adaptation. The thing is, it has to be done with the mangaka's blessing and obviously help. If you want a great example of this, you can look at the 1,000-Year Blood War from Bleach. Because of the manga being rushed, there were some items that Tite Kubo wasn't able to implement in the manga. But when the new anime came out, anime teams made sure to lock in with bro, and they've honestly been snapping ever since. It's actually ironic because I'd argue a great anime adaptation is the only thing that can make a series worldwide. Think about how many series didn't get shine in the public until they got an anime. There's just so much upside that an anime adaptation can have, and we've seen it can be done, but a lot of times it feels like the animation company would rather make a cheap product, which leaves us with great manga, terrible anime adaptations, and a lot of disappointment on what could have been.